Hi everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Taking a look here at SUI, see what's going on. Chop SUI, let's see. We can see the price action performing pretty close to expected, hitting that 0.618, that golden pocket, that fib level, effectively rejecting, coming back down to tentatively bounce off this 198/$2 support range. So we're going to see if that holds. If that doesn't hold, there's obviously some other case scenarios we want to look at. But at this point, this is kind of par for the course, standard stuff, especially kind of performing as expected with Bitcoin's retrace. Okay, so again, natural stuff here, nothing to read into or to overthink. What we want to look at is some back-end liquidation data and kind of double check a few things first. And while we let that load here, I do want to say thank you to my community and everybody who's had some really awesome feedback here. Really appreciate you very much. Quick congrats to our community too. Nice Bitcoin short there from 73,000 to 71,450. Got a nice candle wick there at 20%. And take a look at this here, my day trading bot, scalping SUI. That's an SUI short at 10%. So congrats to everyone there for that. I honestly don't have the nerve to short SUI anymore, but I'm glad my day trading bot does. So take a look here. SUI. What's going on? Well, the general consensus here is that there's a lot of liquidation on the upside and still a sparse amount to the downside. Sparse in the sense that it's kind of spread out because these are some longs here that are either late longs or just longs in profit that haven't closed their position yet. But we can see 180 to 195 is that rough estimate, that range. I'm willing to guess there's some fair value gaps as low as 182 because of how quick SUI recovered and bounced in the last 24 to 48 hours. It would make sense for those areas to have some gaps, okay? And just know, fair value gaps, they inevitably get filled at one point or another. It may not be today or tomorrow, but it could, it's a strong eventuality. Let's just put it that way. But I do like the liquidation delta here. While we do have a decent amount of longs, there's an equal amount of shorts likely to offset that, or people are actually securing profits on their longs, and we're not getting too high or too outrageous with the longs. Again, before when we saw that, the price action was recovering and doing pretty well, but generally speaking, when you have way too many longs or shorts in the market, the price will reverse itself, which is kind of something we saw there earlier. We take a look there, 187 and 193 are the two more local, larger concentrations of open interest. So we have a lot of people in at 193 right now, okay? So if most folks are still in profit, let's take a look at the daily, kind of see what's going on here. This is going to be probably moderately bullish. And I say moderately because we had a significant pullback with one massive green day. Take a look at this here. There's that fair value gap I'm mentioning, down as low as 178. So in case you're not familiar, fair value gaps basically just, they get filled inevitably. It's kind of like the CME gaps where the price action wicks up too hard, right? And then the market makers are going to want to secure profits because they have a long position probably at the lower range. Okay, so they continue to submit limit orders, drive the price down, and then inevitably drive it back up. Okay, so it's a common occurrence, but fair value gaps are just easy ways to identify that. It's never a guarantee, but I think the statistical probability has got to be over 90% of those getting filled at some point. Okay, so just know that may happen someday. At this point, though, we're over 50 on the RSI. We got good support. We're over, the money flow index is trailing behind. Generally not a great sign that it's behind, but it's still moving up, which is good because we can see more money is flowing back into this coin. Obviously, there was a ton that came in yesterday and the day before. Having said that, MACD's trying to converge, so we're really not in a bullish situation here whatsoever. We are tentatively below the 20-day SMA, and we have this pretty strong point of control here at about $2.02. So closing below $2 to $2.05 would signify a potential reversal. And again, when I say reversal, I'm being very careful, walking on eggshells when I say that, because some people get really upset when you tell them their favorite coin is going to go down. But the truth is, that's somewhat of a support range. So the idea is that when you lose a support, the price action is going to continue in that opposite direction until it finds a new support, which we have a secondary support, by the way, at about the 187, 190 mark. Okay, so again, there's no guarantee it's going to pull back, but if it does, we lose $2. I would say the 190, 180 would make sense considering all the fair value gaps we see. There's even a pretty significant one here on the 4-hour time frame. Generally, fair value gaps exist on larger time frames, but as they get the smaller the time frame, the more likely they are to get filled, based on the simple fact that it moved too quick in a short amount of time. So we got a secondary fair value gap as low as 188. So my money would be on 190 being a solid consideration for along with the price pulls back, or alternative to that, considering possibly a short to that level. Generally speaking, I'm never going to recommend a short in SUI, but I'm just letting you know that that's a possibility. If we take a look here, though, at the 4-hour time frame, there's nothing here really telling us that the price is going to drop super hard. We're still over that nice key level support. The likelihood of maintaining this range is still quite high. Pending Bitcoin doesn't run towards its fair value gap at 70,300. You got to keep in mind the entire market went bonkers for the last 24 hours. So a lot of that corrective behavior is going to be happening moving forward, either slow or fast. It's probably going to be a slow and steady grind down to 70K is my guess. And if that happens, SUI may respond similarly, but it also has proven to do really well and bounce pretty strong. So at that point, we can see here, nothing else really telling us we have a significant divergence. Stochastic is swinging down, but MACD hasn't fully reached its peak yet, if you will. So I think it's too early to presume the price will pull back for SUI. But when we look at the Ichimoku cloud here on the hourly, this is giving us some indication that if you have a long position open, try not to be greedy, folks. Come on. This SUI, as strong as it is, as awesome as it is, it's not going to go to $5, $10 this year, okay? I think it's a pretty unlikelihood. So if you have a leveraged position, you're trying to consider holding your leveraged position for months or years, you do realize you're going to inevitably eat up on fees and you're probably going to lose out on that trade, even if it's in profit. That's where holding on for too long is a problem unless it's a spot bag, okay? And as per usual, I'm going to always recommend adding to your spot bag at key levels. $2 seems like a sensible spot bag entry. But for a leveraged position right now, we got the Ichimoku cloud telling us that you want to secure profits on a long position. It's usually a sign to close or to not a sign to short, but it's just a sign letting us know that we're losing momentum and the price pulling back seems higher. And we take a look at the conversion line that's now below the baseline. That's a good momentous indicator telling us we got that shift. The only thing that's saving us here so far is the cloud. Okay, and this is basically just an indication letting us know that we're still above the trend. Okay, so in a sense, we're mostly positive. But I just want you to know that there is potential for the price to pull back to fill any one of these fair value gaps. They're all over the place. And the coin just got super greedy super fast, and it needs to pull back. Bitcoin does have a significant fair value gap in the 70K range, but surprisingly nothing in the 60s because it was consolidating as it rose up. This coin, unfortunately, just shoots up, consolidates just small periods, but it doesn't have any consideration for these lower levels that need to be filled eventually. So just know it's probably it's a strong, distinct likelihood we're going to see those. May not be today, but in the relative near future makes sense. So we may as well get that out of the way, right? Why not lose $2, go down to 190 and have a nice average entry there? Me personally, I'm super interested in an entry at the 190 range. So I'll go ahead and add alert there at about 190 and some change. Maybe you move that up a little bit so I can reevaluate, see if that might be worthwhile for long at that time. Okay. The reason why that's important or an idea or a good consideration, because we had a lot of pivot and bouncing off of this 190 range before, and you could see it spent some time here before it broke out. So that implies that if the price does come down, that will probably be a pretty good consideration for a long or a good area to consider adding to your spot bag. Okay? All right, that's what we got there, folks. Last but not least, this is actually super important. Next month, Bitunix is rolling out with a deposit reward and some nice prize pool money for basically a trading competition. So use my link to register below and you'll automatically be eligible for that. Okay, it's a really cool little opportunity there. So anyways, these guys, no VPN, no KYC, they're awesome exchange. I'll provide the details on that here soon. That'll be available November 1st. All right, folks, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next one. Take care.